on 4th of this month in the USA. And unexpectedly, he left for his heavenly abode on 4th of this month in the USA. It was indeed a shocking news for all of us. All of us who are assembled here, and all among us who are viewing us through Zoom and other online media, all of us would have only good words about Sanjay and only good memories about Sanjay. So it is indeed a devastating news for all of us. So we can imagine how it would be for his parents and relatives and siblings, family, all of people. But this is the least that we can do to remember Sanjay, because he was so dear and near to all of us. We all would remember Sanjay as a very jovial, very gentle, and very kind person. I think that no one would have seen Sanjay ever angry and no one ever shouting at anyone. He was always seen with a very pleasant smile on his face. And in the event of any adversity, he would face it with a smile. Not only him, he would encourage his fellow colleagues, fellow classmates also. The greatest challenge for us during MBBS days was to pass the exams. Although he was nervous himself, he would pacify his fellow classmates. We know about all of things. On a personal note, I was close to Sanjay, and we all know about his academic career and all. During the MBBS days, he was a hardworking student. But there are a lot of other facets to Sanjay. He was a spiritually very much oriented person, and he was attached to God very closely. And I knew him closely in that aspect as well. In fact, the only residential retreat that I ever attended in my life, for that Sanjay had taken me with him. And not only that, yet another facet of Sanjay is his fun and adventure loving facet. Not many of people may be knowing, but I knew it because I don't know how many people would know that I and Sanjay had attended karate classes together. And we had gone for swimming together. In both these places, actually, our dear friend Sujit was in the lead. He was taking us for both these things. We had attended quite a few karate classes. Unfortunately, there was another person who attended karate classes with us. That was the famous film actor Jishnu. And we all know that unfortunately, he also has left for his heavenly abode. Brilliant as he was. Yet we know that sometimes there used to be some communication gaps between Sanjay and his classmates because of the language barrier. We know that he had been brought up most of his childhood abroad. He had done his primary education, schooling, everything in UK, split between UK, a short period in India, and the rest of the time in Bahrain. So when he came to do MBBS, he had come after completing 12th from Bahrain. So even though he had some language barrier, he used to gel in well, and we used to get along well with Sanjay. And after MBBS, he left for USA in the year 2000 for higher studies. And after a short stint doing epidemiology, he did internal medicine residency in Louisiana and completed his oncology training also from Louisiana. And he had set up an oncology clinic by himself in Louisiana called as the Louisiana Oncology Clinic. And he was doing quite well in his career. But his academic brilliance had made him pursue further studies in radiation oncology. And Sanjay's dad was informing us about his achievements in his career field. In fact, a document that he shared with me clearly depicts how brilliant he was in radiation oncology. In fact, Dr. Vijay Kumar, who was maybe his reporting authority, has told that Sanjay and him had together coined two new terms in radiation oncology: radio biomedicine and radio biotherapy. and he was doing excellently, and he was in due course due to receive the gold medal of their society. It was then that fate caught up with him, and he succumbed to his illness. We know that Sanjay would be very near and dear to God, and he said that God calls people early whom he loves most. And that is what has happened to Sanjay. Today, as we gather together, many of the people have promised that they would come physically, and most of the rest of the people, in fact, majority of our classmates are not in the district. They're outside the state, outside the district, or many of them are abroad. Many of the people would join us in Zoom, and we would hear messages from most of them. So, our dear principal, Sarah Varghese madam, had she had volunteered in fact, to come for the meeting because she wanted to be part of it. And she is most welcome among us. For I think, without much ado, we will proceed with the further proceedings of today's meeting. Today's meeting, we will have messages shared by our classmates. Those who are present here, those who are willing can come and give messages, and those who have joined in Zoom can give messages. Some of the people have sent video recordings. We will be projecting that, and after that, we will have a photograph together and we'll disperse after tea. So, to go further with today's proceedings, I invite Dr. Shaheen to come on stage to give a message. And without much delay, we will call upon, after a couple of people, we will call upon Sarah Madam also to give a message. Please, Shaheen.
Thank you, Renu. Our respected principal and Sanjay's parents, Joseph uncle, Mary auntie, and my dear friends. My earliest memories of Sanjay was in first year. He was this great-looking guy with a ready smile on his face, always well-dressed, kind of shy. He wouldn't come up and talk to you, but when you go to him and speak to him, it always made for great conversation. He had this almost childlike innocence and sense of wonder, whether he's at the dissection table or even when he's sharing the latest gossip. He always used to say, don't tell anyone, but this just happened, or don't tell anyone. So that used to be sort of his call sign for a while. And he was what I might say, or what my parents used to say, the ideal son, the personification of the ideal student. Like Renu said, I've never ever seen him shout at anyone or lose his cool at any time. My memories in final year and in house urgency, I always remember he used to carry a volume of Harrison's Principles of Internal Medicine. And I used to rib him. I used to ask him, what's your plan? Why are you carrying this around just to look studious or something? He says, no, I'm actually planning to finish both volumes cover to cover. So later when I caught up with him once, I asked him, did he actually manage to do that? And he said, yes. And that was Sanjay's passion and love for his field. I'm sure he was a great oncologist. When he visited us last in 2019, he called me up one day and said, Shaheen, I'll be here in town for a couple of days, let's meet up. I said, yeah, great. And I thought, okay, why not? Most of us hadn't seen Sanjeev after internship. So I thought, let's get a few of our batchmates who are available, let's get them together and have a mini get-together. We called up Anjali, who is generally our go-to person for these things, and she managed to arrange a get-together of about 12 to 15 of our friends with Sanjay, and we met up for tea and snacks at Ruby Arena here in Medical College. So we spent quite some time together catching up on each other's lives after we left college, and I'm quite happy that
a batch, but he was so gentle and warm. Every one of us used to refer him as an innocent gentleman. So warm, so gentle, in the sense that very few, it was a rarity that he was seen without a happy face. Last time we met around October 19, 2019, with a few of our friends, about 15 of our friends in Trivandrum, one of the hotels. And that time also he seemed very happy, the same ditto, smiling face. That time it was very charming, healthy. And as my friend was saying, it is very unbelievable now that around again after COVID 2 years from that date, it is very unbelievable to all of us that we will be here in such a meeting. So it is very unbelievable, and also it is a very huge loss not only to parents but also to caring friends, many of us, and his friends abroad, and all of us. And again, I use this opportunity to express my deepest condolences, and may his soul attain eternal peace. Thank you. Thank you. Hogan, thank you, Renu. Thank you.
Respected Joseph Sir, Mary Madam, and all other dear friends. I just don't know how to start talking about Dr. Sanjay because I am one of his teachers. Most of the time, teachers remember students in two settings. One is when they are really good in their studies, and the second is when they make something very naughty. I remember Sanjay because he was a very well-mannered, kind and polite student. Just reiterating what his friends were talking till now. So gentle and always pleasant. We have lost many a professional to COVID during the last years. And COVID, in fact, has actually taught us many things, but then we still seem to forget things very easily. First of all, I should say that COVID has been reminding us of the uncertainty of life. Because we know that once we are born, death is inevitable. But yet, we live on as if death won't call upon us. 2 years have passed and life lost are many. All of us are not ready sometimes to be kind enough, to be caring enough, to be sharing things between us. I think all these things were there in our dear Sanjay. It is as if, or rather let us imagine a garden in which there are different flowers. And whenever we want to pick or pluck a flower, each one of us would always want the best one. I would like to think of Sanjay as one of the best flowers in the garden, plucked by the Almighty, so that He will be there henceforth. And at this point of time, I would say that those who are not with us always live in the minds of those who love Him deeply. They never really die. So let us move forward, trying to imbibe the very good qualities which Sanjay has shown us. Many of us are elderly. Most of you are his friends dealing with patients. Let us really remember him and live a life as it is going to end any time, so that we will provide whatever possible to other fellow beings. I take this opportunity to express my deepest condolences to Joseph Sir and Mary Madam. and thanking you once again for being with us. Thank you so much.
The one emotion that unites all of us gathered here today is grief. And I was thinking, what is grief? It is nothing but unexpressed love. It is a reflection of the love and affection that we feel towards the person who has left us. And Sanjay Joseph, as I remember him, was very worthy of that love. I remember him as a generous and loving person who always had this smile on his lips and a kind word to say. He seemed to me a very uncomplicated kind of a person, very straightforward, and he was surprisingly free of all the negative emotions that we normally carry. I mean, he always had an air of positivity around him, and that is what I remember most of him. I don't think, over all the 5 years as batchmates, I don't think I have a single memory of Sanjay Joseph without that smile on his face. So when Renu asked me if I could say a few words for this memorial, I couldn't get his smiling face out of my mind, and I wanted to say something. I wanted to associate something positive with death. And I came across a poem by Khalil Gibran on death. And it says, "What is to cease breathing, but to free the breath from its tireless tides, and to free it to expand and seek out God unencumbered. Only when you drink from the river of silence do you truly sing. Only when you reach the top of that mountaintop do you begin to climb. And when the earth shall claim our limbs, only then shall we truly begin to dance." So I'd like to think of our dear Sanjay Joseph now as a joyous and free spirit who has reached its heavenly abode and is full of song and dance. And that he rests in peace, knowing that his memories live on in our hearts, in the hearts of those he leaves behind, in the hearts of those whose lives he has touched. The condolences and the sadness that we feel cannot be expressed to lose our batchmate. But I hope that the knowledge that he is peaceful somewhere will be a solace to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti. I think Rajesh is ready now. We can connect to Rajesh. Rajesh, if you're hearing us, I think you have joined on. Rajesh and Rani has joined. We'll be projecting you now so that you can come on live. Start speaking when I indicate.
Thank you all for being here to celebrate Sanjay's life. My name is Rajesh Nair.
Rajesh, just hold on a while. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. You can continue.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you and see you. Yes, we can see
Thank you.
Rajesh and Rani.
Thank you so much for being here. My name is Rajesh Nair. I'm a hematologist oncologist working in Missouri, USA. I've known Sanjay for many decades. We met when I was 17 years old. We went to a biology entrance coaching class together. And from the first time I saw Sanjay, I recall that our friendship was instantaneous. He was so friendly, so innocent, always had a smile on his face, just like our other friends just mentioned. I used to pick him up from his home and drop him back early in the mornings after our tuition classes. Sanjay had a very strong British accent at that time, so our biology teacher couldn't understand a word he was saying, and it was my job to be there as a translator from the British to Trivandrum accent. And we also made sure that the mosquitoes there were well fed at that time. Sanjay was a very smart, hardworking, polite, and very kind person. And it was such a blessing to attend medical school together in Trivandrum starting in 1993. So initially it was a completely new environment, and we stuck very close to each other during the first year, and some of our batchmates called us Siamese twins. He was always a dear friend to all of us, always saw the best in people, and always uplifted all those around him. After finishing MBBS, we both moved to the US, and we were both preoccupied with residency and fellowship and carrying on with our busy lives. And we lost contact for a few years. Sanjay turned out to be a very accomplished oncologist, and he built a very busy practice in Louisiana. He was a very loving husband and father. We again met at an annual conference in 2004 or 2005. And I recall him saying, Rajesh, we went to entrance tuition together. We studied medicine together in the same batch. We moved to the US around the same time and ended up working in the same specialty. I think when we both get older, we should plan on going to the same nursing home. So a few years later, we invited him to our hospital to give a lecture, and he stayed with us for a couple of days, and we were really fortunate to have quality time together. So recently, I did not have the slightest clue that he was ill for many months, and I terribly regret that I was not there for him. I just wished I could have hugged him and tell him how much I loved him. I know that he lived his life to the fullest, and his memory will always be a blessing. Sanjay's passing away leaves a void that cannot be filled. However, we hope to continue our friendship through his family. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh. Again, we'll have another person connecting us through Zoom. This will be Shinod and Sindhu. Both of them are in the UK, and both of them were classmates. Shinod, if you can hear us, we are trying to connect you. We are trying
Yes,
to project you. Start speaking when I indicate, please. Yes, Shinod, we can see you. We can start
Okay.
speaking. I guess, yeah.
Okay, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, Srinod, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you, Renu, and dear friends. On this sad occasion, thank you for allowing us to share a few thoughts about our dear friend Sanjay. He was our batchmate, the S batch, so I always remember him as a very smartly dressed gentleman. He used to be with us, very jokingly, talking to us in a friendly manner. I also remember that in addition to knowing him through medical college, his sister Smita used to be my sister's classmate as well. So we got to know him out of medical college as well. He used to come across, most of the time, one thing that, as Rajesh said, with respect to the language, I was also abroad and I didn't know how to speak Malayalam fluently. So we used to daily compare notes. Hey, Sanjay, you've done better this time, and because I didn't get through what I was intending to mean. So he was somebody who used to also help me out during that process. He used to ask a lot of doubts as well. So we used to compare notes, but a very meticulous is what I remember him by. He's spiritual. He also tended to support me during exams, and he said, "Come on, don't worry, Shinod. Just be calm. Take it one day at a time." So a very supporting friend. And I wish to convey my heartfelt condolences to his parents, Joseph Uncle and Mary Auntie, and his wife Sapna, and his children Priyanka, Paul, Ashok, and Anjali, and his brother Santosh as well. I'll just hand over to Sindhu, who's also my classmate as well, to say a few things as well.
As everybody's saying, Sanjay, like a very happy face. I think my memory is like a smiling face out in the front of our college, because for the obvious reason that he will be in first or the second row of the class, and I'll be almost at the end. So all the memories are this smiling, handsome man in the front of the college. And I think after we left the college, as we all have less time for each other, only memory of him is like what you call contact with him was on Facebook, where he used to put like a cinematic picture of him and his kids and the family. As Rajesh was saying, life like it's busy and we haven't had a contact with him for the last few years. But I think it's a sad occasion. I'll miss him.
Thank you very much, Renu.
Thank you, Shinod and Sindhu. Now, may I invite Radhika? Can you please say a few words?
Respected uncle, auntie, and other family members, sir, madam, and dear friends, I really don't know what to say. It is a sad occasion, and as I was seeing the young kids playing around, the fresh MBBS students, I was just going back to our time as young teenagers 29 years ago when we entered this great institution, and how we shared many experiences and matured together over our years spent here. And as everybody said, I think it's universal. Sanjay is always remembered as a gentleman with always a kind and sweet word for everyone, and the sweet smile nobody can ever forget. And we had the opportunity to meet briefly for a short Milan that we had at Ruby Arena a few years back. And so it's really painful to say farewell to a classmate, and to all his family and dear ones. We are very sorry for our loss, and also wish prayers to give you strength to carry on forward. And he's truly a bright candle who was blown away far too soon. So rest in peace, dear Sanjay, in your new abode. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Radhika. Now again, we will have someone joining us in Zoom. Sunish had agreed that he would join and he would speak about Sanjay.
Can you hear me now?
Sunish, please, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we can see you and hear.
Yeah, my name is Sunish Joy. I'm a consultant in England. First of all, thank you, Renu, and your colleagues for organizing. It's a wonderful opportunity for us to figure out to express a brief on this situation. Like many of us, and like many of the speakers before said, we are in a state of denial that this young man who I first saw on the corridors of the anatomic dissection hall, I still remember it, standing there like everybody said, with a rather infectious smile on his face. He just smiled at me and I thought, who on earth is this? He doesn't look like a medical student. He looks like this is somebody who should be joining or becoming a priest. It's his present. ഒരു law here to കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, you would look like somebody going off to the seminary to learn some religion. Such was his character. And every time I used to see him, I felt like saying, because it was like he was such a pleasant person. You always feel like talking. There are some people who with different characters and reputation. Some are the character, the reputation is also quite bigger than them. But for this guy, I always remember, because our name starts with the same alphabet, we used to be sort of close by the dissection tables, close by because it starts with all the attendance registers and everything is so close. And I knew him quite well. And whenever I think of him today, I can't think of anything like anybody said bad about him. He had no complaints. Whatever he took, you get angry with him, he would smile. You try to crack a joke with him, he would smile. And same character, same reputation. And I could see from his profile pages when in the United States, when I was actually trying to find where Sanjay was in the United States, I could see. Many of the patients are actually written just putting him. What he was in his personal life, he kept that straight up to his profession. He must have been such a fantastic doctor, like Rajesh said. There's nothing that has been written so bad about him at all. He kept to his word. He was, it feels so sad that we miss a person, not just as a friend, He was somebody who was a loss to the society as well. Well, whenever I think of him, there's one thing which still makes me laugh. I mean, it's not an opportunity. This is not the place to laugh, but that's the only way I could think about him. Some of you will remember the summit which we had years ago. It went pretty bad. It became violent at one point. And we were having a little chat outside the Medical College auditorium. Sanjay was there. And we said somebody might actually put a bomb somewhere to get that violent. And Sanjay was really listening to this. For the next 5 days, we couldn't actually find Sanjay anywhere in the medical college. And he gradually turned up 5 or 6 days later. And me and Praveen asked him, oh, there's somebody was going to bomb the college. It's better to stay at home, isn't it? So that was him, such a naive and innocent character. So in my memories, I will always remember this gentleman as somebody who is so sweet and with that lovely smile. He remains forever in my heart as that young 19-year-old boy. I can't believe that he's left us. And I really hope his family copes with it, especially his little children. And I hope his family copes with that. And I'm sure time will gradually make things a lot easier for them. And thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak on this time. Thank you, Renu. Oh, that's me.
Thank you, Sunish. Again, we know in Canada it's odd time. Nigel Haroun in Canada had sent a video message and he is watching it. So we'll project his video message.
To everybody here today, thank you for joining hands with Sanjay's family to celebrate his life. Thank you for coming together to say goodbye to a dear friend. Medical school days are really the most important period in shaping our careers. It is a formative period in our lives too. We spend time as classmates during this period, growing and maturing together. We are indeed siblings of a family made from one mold. And so today, we bid farewell to a part of us, to one of our own. Sanjay was an epitome of an ideal physician. He was so kind, caring, empathetic, and patient. I've not seen him incensed even once, always greeting you with a smile and always seeing the lighter side of things. To Dr. Joseph Ayirookuzhi and Mrs. Mary Margaret Joseph, to Swapna, to Priyanka, Paul, Ashok, and Anjali, and to the entire family, we are thinking of you. Our deepest condolences. May Sanjay's good deeds be multiplied and any shortcomings forgiven. Thank you, Sanjay, for being a role model and for making us better people. And as the saying goes, say not in grief he is no more, but in thankfulness that he was. Thank you.
Praveen,
Really, thanks for forwarding the message. I just want to tell a couple of words about him. Sanjayine patti aalochikkumbol, as Sunish was mentioning, we always get the picture of a very matured gentleman. You know, the point where we are now, he was at his 18 and 19s. You know, I haven't even heard a bad word coming out of his mouth all through the 6 years we spent together in the college. It was quite a difficult thing to, you know, I don't know, I can't even, it is not sinking into me that Sanjay has left us, really. We are from the corporation school and he's from the convent school. It's, I'm struggling for words. It's quite, you know, and when you think about him, it is his smiling face. That smile never went away from his face throughout the time we were together. It's a big loss, you know, it is a big loss to us. It's a big loss to the society. And I can't even think from his family's shoes, really. I don't want to tell anything more. Thank you, Renu. Thank you very much for organizing this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Praveen. Now we have the father of Shalini Thomas, our dear Thomas sir. Thomas sir will speak a few words.
Respected Dr. Sarah, Dr. Joseph, Maggie, and dear friends. I introduce myself as Dr. Thomas, father of Dr. Shalini, your classmate. This news was broken to us by Dr. Sanjay's uncle, uncle and his wife, Sarama. So on hearing this, we were really overtaken with grief. Both of us. My wife, Rosama, is also here. We were so. It was a heartbreaking news for us, and we knew Sanjay as Shalini's classmate and our neighbor. They are our neighbors. So it was a very unbearable news for us, and we always remember his sweet face with the smile always there, and his loss is too much to bear, and we share the grief of Joseph, Maggie, all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thomas sir. Again, we will have another person joining us on Zoom. Ramanathan is also out of country. Ramanathan, if you're there, we are going to project you.
Renu, I'm actually in the country. I'm in India right now, in Bangalore. I'm lost for words, to be honest. Sanjay was a close friend. The things I clearly remember about him as being ever smiling. ഒരു ശാന്ത സ്വഭാവിയും ഒരു സൽസ്വഭാവിയായിട്ട് സഞ്ജയനെ കണ്ടിരുന്നു എപ്പോഴും. കോളേജിൽ പഠിക്കുമ്പോഴും ശരി, ക്യാൻറ്റീനിലും അവിടെ ഇവിടെ എല്ലാം he always had that maturity in him which could be well appreciated. സഞ്ജയ് ആയിട്ട് കുറച്ചും കൂടെ ക്ലോസ് ആയിട്ട് സഞ്ജയനെ അറിയാൻ കഴിഞ്ഞത്, there have been times since I used to live in വട്ടിയൂർക്കാവ്, മെഡിക്കൽ കോളേജിൽ നിന്ന് വട്ടിയൂർക്കാവ് ഞാൻ പേരൂർക്കട വഴിയാണ് വരുന്നത്. So there have been a few times where I have dropped him at his house in my bike. Those were the days where I could understand or I could know Sanjay better, because even during ride, we would talk about things that is not academic, no gossips about friends, but something about the general things in and around the world, how things are in other parts of the world. Sanjay would share his experiences, what his dreams are, and all the stuff. It's really difficult to take it that he's no more. As I understand, he had a significant issues after his COVID infection. അങ്ങനെ ആലോചിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഒരു അത്രയും സഫറിങ് ഉൾക്കൊള്ളേണ്ട ഒരു ആത്മാവല്ല. rather he should not have suffered. I don't see that he deserves to suffer for the personality he was. So in a way, thinking that way, probably he's now free of his pain, agony, and suffering. Yeah, it's really a tough moment, or rather, it's every thing. Every time I think about him, it feels really sad. Rest in peace, Sanjay. That's all I can say now. Thanks.
Now, Shabri and Sai, they both had sent a recorded message earlier. We'll have it projected now.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity to remember our friend Sanjay, of whom we have very fond memories. Sanjay was a true gentleman who always had a smile on his face and a kind word to say.
Even though we haven't been in touch with Sanjay recently, we have been reminiscing about all the fond memories we have of him in the corridors and halls of Medical College. Our deepest condolences go to his wife, Swapna, his 4 kids, his parents, and his siblings. We will all miss him dearly.
Thank you, Shabri and Saida. All right. So we'll again have another recorded message from Vivek Chali. Vivek Chali is in Bahrain and he had sent a message earlier. We'll have it now.
Dear friends, this is Vivek from Bahrain. I would like to offer my heartfelt condolences to Sanjay's family, his wife Swapna and children, his parents, his brother and sister. I can only imagine how difficult it is for them at this juncture. With Sanjay's passing, I've lost a dear friend whom I've shared a lot of fun moments with. I visited his house a couple of times during my BBS and I was hoping to catch up with him sometime. I remember Sanjay as a thorough gentleman, an empathetic physician and a God-fearing person who was pleasant no matter what. He could diffuse any situation with his disarming smile. Rest in peace, dear Sanjay. You're going to be sorely missed.
Thank you, Vivek. Now again, Vinod and Shweta, they are both in US and they are also both our classmates and they are married to each other. Vinod had agreed to give a message. Vinod, we can see you. Can you speak?
Thanks, Renu. Can you hear me?
Yes, Vinod, we can hear. We can hear both. We can see you and Shweta.
Thank you. Thanks, Renu, for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts about Sanjay, our dear friend and classmate. And thanks for organizing this remembrance. To be very frank, the news of his untimely death, it just came as a shock to me and Shweta. We hardly could expect things like this happening now, especially because we had no idea about his illness. And each time I see his picture on WhatsApp these days, you guys sharing it, it's hard to believe Sanjay is not with us anymore. Although I was not very close to him, even though we were in the US, we were not in regular contact. But my most recent memories of Sanjay are when I met him at a very small gathering we had at KIMS in 2016, I believe. And what I remember about that meeting is, and I hope everybody saw those pictures that were streamed before the meeting began. It was such a wonderful get together. It was a good time to meet Sanjay. And what I most recall about that meeting was that after we it was a good time to meet. Yeah. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So after we left, I was driving with Robin and Sanjay in the car, and I still remember that simple, friendly, and very curious person with that warm smile, all curious about my life in the US. He knew that me and Shweta were married and I had kids, and he had all kinds of questions about that. So it just reminded me of that Sanjay from almost 30 years back, who I would occasionally walk back from medical college to hostel. Or he would be going back home, I guess, but we would be walking back. And the same friendly, very curious guy with the warm smile. So that was the Sanjay that I remembered, and he had not changed a bit. So it's very hard for me, and I'm sure for Shweta, to think of Sanjay as being no more. And then I remember saying goodbye to Sanjay after that meeting and saying, hey, we're going to keep in touch. But unfortunately, life happens, and we never got to talk or see each other after that. And I kind of regret that now that he's no more. I know his death, his untimely death must be a shock and terrible news for everybody who's been close to him, especially his family, his parents, his wife and kids. And I'm also sure that his death must be a big loss for his patients. And we hear all these stories about him being a great doctor and physician. So I share my deepest heartfelt condolences to each and every one of us, and especially to his close family and friends. I wish the time, as you all, some of you said, as the time I hope that this loss, we can live through this. But as of now, let's all remember Sanjay for all the good things, all the good times we shared with him. His loss will be he will be surely missed. Thanks once again.
Hi everyone, this is Shweta, and this is, I can't imagine we all are sharing this at this time about Sanjay, but a loss for sure. I will always remember him as a very smiling person, as everyone has said in the beginning, the same way. I remember his smile. I know Renu, when he came in and said that there was a communication gap between friends and classmates, I think he's probably one of the people I can say I did not have a communication gap, because we spoke in English most of the time. And I remember he was probably one of the people I'll remember who had joined college and looked like he came prepared to be a physician. He looked like a physician from the very beginning. It is a loss we can't explain. We have not been in touch, but no words can explain a loss of a friend who you grew up with, who you went to school with. But I don't think there are any words to share the loss or feel the loss, what his parents and family are feeling. So my deepest sympathies to his family. I am so sorry for your loss, but all of us are here to say that he would be remembered in our memories, and we have cherished memories of him being our friend. His smile, compassion will be with us, as with a lot of people and patients that he has touched. Thank you everyone for allowing us to share a few words about him today, and for arranging this so collectively we can share our grief for a loss of a beautiful soul.
Thank you very much, Vinod and Shweta. Again, we'll have on Zoom, we'll have Gladys joining us. Gladys, if you're ready, we'll project you and I will indicate, then you can start speaking.
Yeah.
Yes, Gladys, we can see you and hear you. Please speak.
Yeah. Dear auntie and uncle, my dear friends, sorry I couldn't come to Trivandrum to join this occasion, but I'm very much there mentally. I was just thinking about the three friends whom we lost from Sabu. Sabu, actually, we lost him in our initial medical college days, and I still remember how we queued and went and saw him in his house. And after that, we lost Sudha, and Sudha also suffered a lot. And I could see a little bit of her last phase, because she was being treated in the same hospital where I worked. But I couldn't be with her in the last part of her life. She also, left silently, and now it is Sanjay's turn. When this news came in, it was Anju who first disclosed it to me, and I was really, really shocked. What happened to him all of a sudden. Even though I believe, as far as my memory is right, I have not met him after I left medical college, because the three gatherings I came, I don't think Sanjay could come. So this 2019 get together also, I couldn't come. So Sanjay I have not met after I left medical college. And even though I was in the B batch and he was in the D batch, we had a lot of interactions through our prayer meetings in Jesus Youth. And that is where I, used to interact with Sanjay. And of course, as many of the people who was mentioning about his British accent, I was initially very much taken aback by his, this gentleman and his British accent and the way he carried himself. I still remember the way he used to spell Kuravam Konam, because that place, whenever I hear about Sanjay, that Kuravam Konam used to come, and the way he used to spell it out, I remember. And a lot of interactions, especially what I remember is the warmth of his smile and the gentleness of his ways. And it is unfortunate I couldn't be in touch with him after I left medical college. But one thing I knew about him, he had 4 children, and I also was thinking he has 4 children like me. I used to think about that in between. And I really, really wish Swapna I have not met, but I wish Swapna, uncle, auntie, and his kids, consolation and solace at this tough times. And before I conclude, I just want to quote one very hopeful message from the Bible, which is from the Psalms. It is from 23rd Psalm. It says, "Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life." So, and it is written, "I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long." Thank you, dear friends.
Thank you, Gladys. Again, we'll have another Zoom attendee joining us in Zoom. Be Sarita Shenoy.
Yes, Renu.
Can you hear us, Sarita? Yes. Yeah, I will indicate when we are ready. Yes, we can see you and hear you. Please speak, Sarita.
Thank you, Renu, for arranging such a meeting in a very short time. Sanjay news, I read it from Med 93. That was the first news I read that day. That day it was a shock. I was filled with shock. I didn't know how to react because Sanjay was a person which I had spent 5 years together. Me, Sapna, Sandhya, Sanjay Ji, Sarita Varghese, we were almost together for the 5 years when we were doing our MBBS course over there. So it was really a shock because we had spent so much time together and had so many memories together also. Like എല്ലാരും പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ the first MBBS first വന്ന് join ചെയ്തപ്പം സഞ്ജയ് meet ചെയ്തപ്പം we asked him what is his name, and we were introducing each other. So I was, he was a person, a gentlemanship, a smile. As everybody else, I also noted, but the way he pronounced his name, Sanjay Joseph, Ayirookuzhi ennu parayumbottekkum, before that he had this cute smile on his face, and with difficulty and effort he used to complete his name. Then came the next step, that was speed evidence. Again, that was another obstacle for him to pronounce Kuravangonam correctly. So from that, appa mudale nammal aa oru endha paraya nammade pole alla he some കുറച്ച് different ആണ് എന്നുള്ളത് മനസ്സിലാക്കി. And we used to like നമ്മള് ഞാനും സപ്നയും സന്ധ്യയും സരിത വർഗീസ് എല്ലാവരും like പല യൂണിറ്റിലും പോസ്റ്റിങ്ങിന് ഇടയിലും ഒക്കെ ജോക്സ് ഒക്കെ ക്രാക്ക് ചെയ്യുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും he used to come after us because he was a very shy guy, a little bit introvert, I should say. He അങ്ങനെ പെട്ടെന്ന് നമ്മളെ പോലെ ഇങ്ങനെ പെട്ടെന്ന് വന്ന് ഇന്ററാക്ട് ചെയ്തില്ലായിരുന്നു, ഷൈ ആയിരുന്നു. ജോക്സ് എന്തെങ്കിലും ഇവന്റ്സ് പുറകെ വന്നിട്ട് എന്താ what is it. I still remember coming after us and asking what happened. And when he realized what happened, ആ ഒരു ചിരി പെട്ടെന്ന് ഒരു ബ്ലാസ്റ്റ് ചിരി ആയിരിക്കും which used to come from him. Then like for വേറൊരു കാര്യം ഞാൻ സഞ്ജയ് ആയിട്ട് നോട്ട് ചെയ്തത്, like these days for as I'm a teacher for first MBBS students, നമ്മൾ എപ്പോഴും സ്റ്റുഡൻസിന്റെ അടുത്ത് like now we teach this professionalism, how to be a professional, how to behave like a good doctor. It should reflect from your character to be a doctor എന്നുള്ളതൊക്കെ പഠിപ്പിക്കുവാണ്. We are teaching them, but that used to come from him as an his inborn behavior, like our gentlemanship, maybe it was because of his abroad upbringing, our way of speaking, and as many of my friends has shared, we have never had an incident where Sanjay lost his temper and behaved badly to any one of us or patients or whoever is nearby. He was such well behaved. Then വേറൊരു കാര്യം എനിക്ക് ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാനുള്ളത്, because we were mostly together, നമ്മൾ community medicine പോസ്റ്റിങ്ങിനൊക്കെ പോകുമ്പം we used to pack our lunch and go for field visit. Morning we used to go, then we were distributed in wards and we used to do the activities which we were asked to do, and lunch time we used to gather together. ഇപ്പം നമ്മൾ ഭക്ഷണം കഴിക്കുമ്പം ഇന്ത്യൻ കൾച്ചറിൽ വളർന്ന പിള്ളേരാണല്ലോ, പെട്ടെന്ന് ഇങ്ങനെ ഭക്ഷണം കഴിക്കും, 1 മിനിറ്റിലോ 2 മിനിറ്റ്. We used to finish our lunch, but he used to take one bite and he used to enjoy his food naturally. Like ആ ഭക്ഷണത്തിനും കൂടെ he used to give respect. അല്ലെ, ഞാനിങ്ങനെ I was wondering, ഞാനിങ്ങനെ പലവട്ടം ഇങ്ങനെ നോക്കാറുണ്ടായിരുന്നു, എന്താണ് സഞ്ജയ് ഇത്രയും ടൈം എടുക്കുന്ന ഫുഡ് കഴിക്കാനായിട്ട്. So that was something which was അതൊക്കെയാണ് എനിക്കിപ്പം ഓർമ്മ വരുന്നത് സഞ്ജയിനെ കുറിച്ച് ഓഫ് ഹാൻഡ് ആയിട്ട് പറയാനായിട്ട്. And thank you, Sarah Madam, Secretary Principal, for joining our batch over here. Madam Vannadilum, and I understand that many of our teachers are also there. Sanjay's parents, his family, his wife, his 4 kids. MBBS കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട്, as many of us, I had lost contact completely with him. Facebook vadi I tried to contact during our millings, but it was not, I couldn't contact him, but I could see his pictures. Rajesh പറഞ്ഞ മാതിരി ഇടയ്ക്കിടയ്ക്ക് FB-യിൽ പിക്ചേഴ്സ് ഇടുന്നത് കാണാമായിരുന്നു, അത് കാണുമായിരുന്നു, ഫോളോ ചെയ്യുമായിരുന്നു. Finally, like ഈ പറഞ്ഞ മാതിരി ആദ്യം the first day when I saw this news, it was kind of a shock to me. I didn't know how to react. Sabu, Sudha, Sanjay. Second day it turned into sadness, grief. അത് കഴിയുമ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ സഞ്ജയ് ജിയുടെ ഒരു ചാറ്റ് മെസ്സേജ്, which midnight when he was active, ഒരു ചാറ്റ് മെസ്സേജ് എപ്പോഴും ഓർമ്മ വന്നു, അപ്പോഴും ഓർമ്മ വന്നു. Like all of us are in a queue. These friends who have left us has just bypassed us and reached the end point of the queue. I hope many of my friends remember that. അത് മനസ്സിലാക്കി, ആ സത്യാവസ്ഥ മനസ്സിലാക്കി, and consoling myself, and I hope all of us can gather this emotion within us. We have to face it, and life should go on. And I hope we can be of help to his family if they are in need. Thank you once again, the organizing team. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sarita. Sujit, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope I'm audible. That was a lovely message from Sarita. Sanjay was dear to all of us. We were in the same batch, the B batch, and have been acquainted with him all the 5 years. Yes, now through Facebook. It was so we were also happy for him, living a good life in US with all the 4 lovely kids. And we feel so unhappy seeing the state of affairs now. He was so nice, ever having this the beautiful smile and the pleasant demeanor he had. Used to go for the karate classes, myself, Vivek, Charlie, Renu, and we feel like how like momentary our life is. It is so sad to hear this news of the loss of Sanjay, and I feel that his family and his kids and parents get the courage and the power to behold that message. It is so sad, praying for his soul. Right.
Thank you, Sujit. Now we will have a message from Unnikrishnan.
Sanjay, in every way, a true gentleman, gentle, kind, so rare in today's world. May he rest in peace. My memories of him are that of his kindness, his gentleness, his willingness to listen, to put in a word of encouragement, even if we felt listless, disappointed with ourselves. He always found something positive to tell us about ourselves. Such a thorough gentleman, such a rare thing today. God bless him. And in this time of distress, his family, may they be blessed with strength to get beyond this loss. So complete a loss, but still, God will give us the strength. God bless you all.
Thank you, Nikrishnan. Anybody who has joined in Zoom or anybody who is present here, all are welcome to give messages. Sandhya Kanam, സംസാരിക്കൂ.
റെനു റെനുവിന് ആദ്യം ഞാൻ താങ്ക്സ് പറയാണ് ഇങ്ങനൊരു ഇത് വേഗം ഓർഗനൈസ് ചെയ്തതിൽ. സഞ്ജയ് എൻ്റെ അടുത്ത നമ്പറായിരുന്നു. സഞ്ജയ് ശരിക്കും ഞാൻ മെഡിക്കൽ കോളേജിൽ വന്ന് കയറുമ്പോൾ എനിക്ക് ശരിക്കും അതുമായിട്ട് അഡ്ജസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ ഒരുപാട് സമയമെടുത്തായിരുന്നു. പ്രത്യേകിച്ചും ലാബുകളൊക്കെ എനിക്ക് ഭയങ്കര ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടായിരുന്നു. ശരി, ഞാൻ സഞ്ജയ് ജോസഫിന്റെയും സഞ്ജയ് ജിയുടെയും ഇടയിലായിരുന്നു. സഞ്ജയ് ജിയുടെ അടുത്ത് നമുക്ക് ശരിക്കും എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു ഡൗട്ട് ചോദിക്കാനോ ഒക്കെ ശരിക്കും ആ സമയത്ത് ഭയങ്കര നമ്മളെല്ലാം ഇത്തിരി ഇതായിരുന്നു. അപ്പം സഞ്ജയ് ജോസഫാണ് ശരിക്കും ലാബിൽ നമുക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും ഹെൽപ്പ് ചെയ്യാനുണ്ടായിരുന്നത്. പിന്നെ എനിക്ക് പണ്ടേ ഉള്ളൊരു മറവി, ഞാന് നമ്മുടെ ഹിസ്റ്റോളജി ലാബൊക്കെയാണ് ഞാനിപ്പോ ഓർക്കുന്നത്. നമ്മുടെ ഹിമറ്റോക്സിലിൻ ആ പെൻസിലൊന്നും പലപ്പോഴും എൻ്റെ കയ്യിൽ ഉണ്ടാവാറില്ല. അപ്പോഴേക്കും ഞാൻ നോട്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള സഞ്ജയ് അത്രയും ഭയങ്കര പ്രിപ്പയർഡ് ആയിട്ടാണ് സഞ്ജയ് വരുന്നത്. സഞ്ജയുടെ കയ്യിൽ ആ പെൻസിൽസ് ആണെങ്കിലും എല്ലാം സഞ്ജയ് വളരെ സിസ്റ്റമാറ്റിക് ആയിട്ട് അറേഞ്ച്ഡ് ആയിട്ട് വരുന്ന ഒരാളായിരുന്നു. പിന്നെ സഞ്ജയിനെ മിക്കവാറും എല്ലാവരും ഡെയിലി ബേസിൽ പ്രാങ്ക് ചെയ്യുമായിരുന്നു. പക്ഷെ സഞ്ജയ് അതെല്ലാം എടുക്കുന്ന ആ ഒരു വളരെ ഗ്രേസ്ഫുൾ ആയിട്ട് വളരെ കാം പേഴ്സൺ ആയിരുന്നു. എപ്പോഴും എന്തെങ്കിലും പറ്റിക്കും സഞ്ജയിനെ നമ്മള്, കാരണം ആ ബാച്ച് മൊത്തം വില്ലന്മാരായിരുന്നല്ലോ. അപ്പോൾ എപ്പോഴും സഞ്ജയിനെ എന്തെങ്കിലും പ്രാങ്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നതായിട്ട് ഉള്ള ഓർമ്മയാണ്. എന്തെങ്കിലും പറയും, യു നോ ദർ ഇസ് ഗോയിങ് ടു ബി test today and he will soon start studying, he will open notes and will start studying. ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരുപാട് ഓർമ്മകൾ വരെയാണ്. പിന്നെ ആ ഏറ്റവും സഞ്ജയുടെ എനിക്കിപ്പോഴും ഞാൻ സഞ്ജയുടെ ഓർമ്മയിൽ ഞാൻ ഓർക്കുന്നതെന്ന് വെച്ചാല്, ഓരോ പ്രാവശ്യവും സഞ്ജയ് ഞാൻ പറ്റിക്കപ്പെട്ടു എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് സഞ്ജയ് അത് എടുക്കുന്ന ആ രീതിയാണ്. അത് നമ്മള് എങ്ങനെയെങ്കിലും ഒക്കെ അത് നമ്മളെ ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻസ് ചെയ്ത് കാണും നമ്മളുടെ ലൈഫിൽ. നമ്മള് ഇത്രയും സ്ട്രെസ്ഫുൾ നമ്മുടെ ലൈഫിൽ നമ്മള് ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഫ്രണ്ട് ഉണ്ടായോണ്ടായിരിക്കും നമ്മുടെ മനസ്സിൽ ഇപ്പോഴും സിമ്പതി, കൈൻഡ്നെസ്, കാംനെസ്, ഹെൽപ്ഫുൾ നേച്ചർ എല്ലാം നമ്മുടെ മനസ്സിൽ ഇപ്പൊ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ എപ്പോഴെങ്കിലും ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ളൊരു ഫ്രണ്ട് നമുക്കുള്ളതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ ആയിരിക്കും. സഞ്ജയുടെ ഫാമിലിയും സഞ്ജയുടെ പാരന്റ്സും സഞ്ജയുടെ ലോസ് എങ്ങനെ സഹിക്കുന്നു എന്ന് ശരിക്കും ഞാൻ ആലോചിക്കുകയാണ്. കാരണം ഇത്രയും കാലത്തെ ഗ്യാപ്പ് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് പോലും എനിക്ക് സഞ്ജയുടെ ഡെത്ത് ഉൾക്കൊള്ളാൻ ഭയങ്കര ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടായിരുന്നു. ഈശ്വരൻ അവർക്കെല്ലാവർക്കും ഇത് സഹിക്കാൻ, ടൈമിനോടൊപ്പം സഞ്ചരിക്കാൻ അവർക്ക് കരുത്ത് നൽകട്ടെ എന്ന് ഞാൻ പ്രാർത്ഥിക്കുന്നു. താങ്ക് യു മൈ ഫ്രണ്ട്സ്.
റാണിയാണ്.
റാണി സംസാരിക്കൂ. റാണി,
let me take a moment. Hi friends, just as all of you shared, we all remember Sanjay as a kind gentleman. Actually, being his classmate from MBBS, I got to know him much closer after coming to US, after getting to meet his wife, his lovely wife, Sapna. So from then on, I could get in close touch with how the children are growing, how beautiful their life together was. They had a wonderful, wonderful 19 years of togetherness. Sanjay and his family, they love to travel. We all been having memories of Sanjay from school days. At that time, I was not really close touch with Sanjay, but once I got married to Rajesh and Sanjay, they were very close to each other, as you have heard from him from age 17. So I knew a lot of things about Sanjay that I did not know when I was his classmate. And later, after getting in touch with Sapna, we would share kids' activities at school, their community. Oh, I have to mention this. We all talk about his studious nature, what a perfect gentleman he is, calm, quiet, sweet, but the leadership quality, his family and his, in particular, Sanjay, they have been a synonym of service, well known for their big heart, and to that community. He is gone too soon. And honestly, words cannot reflect or capture the sorrow, the grief, the anger, the shock that we are all going through now. I knew Sanjay had been, he had COVID from, as we know, since many, many months. As Rajesh said, we really regret, we didn't know the magnitude of the problem, even though I felt I was very close to him. And our biggest regret is we couldn't be there. Rajesh was like, he couldn't give him a tight hug. Sanjay, he's going to always live in our hearts. He is going to be survived by his parents, siblings. Of course, again, my sweet friend Sapna, his children, Ashok, Anjali, Priyanka, Paul, the finest. He was one of the finest in our class. Sanjay, you're so dearly loved by all of us, and you will live in our hearts forever. Thank you.
Hello?
Dhanlakshmi, yes, Dhanlakshmi, we can see you. Please talk.
I believe that Sanjay will be remembered in our memories so long as any one of us is left. And so he has not really left us. His memories will live on. And just when we thought COVID was over and we have all come out unscathed, it's really shocking that one of our members have succumbed to it. I'm really sorry. I didn't know about the sufferings he was undergoing, and we couldn't support him at that time. I give my heartfelt condolences to the family. I believe death is an absolute thing that we all have to face, and I'm sure we will meet him at the other show. Thank you, Renu. Thank you for organizing this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. So if nobody else has to talk, let me invite Dr. Anju to say a few words, and we will conclude this meeting with that.
Respected Sarah Madam, Savitri Madam, Thomas Sir, dear Uncle, Joseph Uncle, Eri Andy, and Sanjay's aunt who has come here, and dear friends, both who are present here as well as who are online. It has been time of great pain and sorrow as we all heard about the sad demise of our dear Sanjay Joseph. After that, as many of us went and met Uncle and Auntie, we felt that it was most appropriate to have this condolence meeting. And today we have gathered here so that we could cherish the memories that we had with Sanjay. As our friends were trying to say, we remember him as a gentleman, as a quiet, soft-spoken guy, with a smile that came straight from his heart. He used to come for JY prayer meetings and, was always willing to help others, very kind person. And as we all know, I believe, as a practicing oncologist, he would have been a great source of comfort. His reassuring presence and competence would have touched many, many lives and families. And the other day, Auntie was saying, he's recently completed a course in radiation oncology as well, preparing himself, for being, more beneficial, more useful to the society and his patients. So I believe in all respects, this function that we had today this meeting that we have today is a solemn tribute to his life. And on behalf of our batch, 1993 batch, I would also like to thank our dear principal, Sarah Madam, who kindly consented to be here in spite of her busy schedule. We can see that she has been sitting through the whole meeting. Thank you, Madam. Thank you for coming in to share our sorrow. Thank you, all our teachers. Your words, Thomas sir, your presence, Savitri Madam. We thank you, we value it. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to you all. And we know this meeting is more meaningful because we have Sanjay's parents and aunt here. I really don't know what to tell you. We know we share in your sorrow. We love you and we care for you. We are just a phone call or a message away. We are there for you. Thank you for raising the occasion. And also all those persons who have come in today, both online and offline. Renu was saying his bank manager wanted to drop in at least for a few minutes. I don't know whether he's here. We thank you. We thank you for all those technical staff, for the auditorium staff who was helping us in conducting this function. And talking about my batch, I really don't know. I'm at a loss for words. Proud to be to belong to this batch. It was actually Arun Kumar ML who put forward this idea, in which it was taken forward by Renu, and the efforts that they had put these few days is commendable. That is why all of us could come together. Padma was instrumental in getting the auditorium and other facilities ready. All of us, we contacted each other. We saw that we could come together for your precious time, your sharing your memories. Thank you all. And once again, as we bid farewell to our dear Sanjay, I pray that God rest his soul in eternal peace, and God give his dear parents, his loving family, wife and 4 children, the strength and courage to move on. So till we meet again at that beautiful shore, prayers and adieu. Goodbye, Sanjay.
Thank you very much, Anju Matthew. So with this, we come to an end to this meeting. But before we leave, I request all of you to assemble together for a photograph so that we can have this moment with us in the future too, as a document. And after the photograph, there is tea ready for all of us. Please join us. I request especially Dr. Sanjay's parents, Joseph Uncle, Mary Auntie, Nirmala Auntie, Thomas Roshan Auntie, Savitri Madam, Sarah Madam, all of us, all of my dear friends, to gather together for the photograph and for the tea. Thank you all.